generally, when you're making an audition tape, what you do is you take all your best jokes, your A+ stuff, your tried and true material, you string it together with a perfunctory through line, and there you go. But I like to do things a little differently. Is that the word I'm looking for? I like to do things a little stupidly. That's not quite right either. I like to do things a lot stupidly. And that's why I've decided my path to success here is to roast the shit out of the guy I'm auditioning for. Sounds like a plan, right? Inveterate political operator that I am, this is what I'm going with. That's, smart thinking. Oh, look, the hand that feeds. No, I'm not gonna roast the shit out of the guy. It's a mild ribbing at best. It's now the guy that runs the comedy over at Mulligan's. His name is James. Say hi to James, everyone.
Hey, James. Hi, James.
There you go. And he's I've only met him briefly. Seems like a decent enough sort. How would I describe James? James may well be my mirror universe doppelganger. Might be. We're both fuzzy little guys, but the similarities end there. At least on a surface level, as far as I can tell, we are just polar opposites. Now he's from the great state of Texas, and sounds it. Now I've spent almost my entire life in the Northeast, most of that time in cloistered liberal enclaves. And in fact, when James and I met, we were both sporting our respective cultural signifiers. Now I had, as I always do, my trusty collapsible NPR tote bag made of recycled plastic bottles. My virtue signaler, I call it. Made from plastic bottle. How do they do that? It's actually more simple than you think. What they do is you break the plastic down into its constituent parts. See, and then once you've extracted all the sanctimonium, it can be pressed into a polymerized fiber. Only one of those words is made up. I couldn't define a single one of them. Anyway, just toss my E. coli dirty bomb over there. Right? So I had that. James had a Punisher logo T-shirt and a red baseball cap. Not that red baseball cap. But you can't be too careful nowadays. Got to be on your guard. You see that on someone's head, you're like, is this motherfucker going to run me through with a flagpole? Oh, I'm sorry. Go Cards. So, now I'm not going to lie. Now, look, here's the thing. I've been out of the game for years and years, so I do not suffer from an overabundance of confidence in my abilities here. So seeing the gatekeeper, that red state coded, was a relief. I was like, oh, this is perfect because, see, should James find my audition wanting, if he doesn't want to put me in his little show, I can just tell myself I'm too woke for the guy. Clearly that's what's going on here. It's not my subpar material or my pedestrian delivery. No, he just can't handle my woke-atudinous. I don't know the noun form. Whatever it is, he can't handle it. I am just too woke. Nah, you're just rusty. In fact, I've pinpointed some of your problem areas, and if you worked on these, I bet, in a few months' time, guess I'll just take my woke ass home then. Sorry if my audition triggered you, snowflake. We come from different worlds, James and I. He is ex-military. He, for the latter years of the War on Terror, he was fighting overseas, while I was a ginormous pussy. It's a vocation and a calling. Now, I'm not sure which theater he was in, maybe both. I'm afraid to ask because, God, even 20 years later, Iraq is such a sore spot with me. Look, I have a lot of friends and family in the armed forces. Well, I did until 2003. Thanks, W. Yeah. Oh, they didn't die overseas. They just got sick of hearing me bitch about Iraq. Dude, I don't know what chin peach means, and I don't want to know. Looking back, I'm not sure they were even called up through the official channels. I think they might have just been like, oh God, here comes Clarke. He's on a tear about Halliburton again. I'm shipping out. I can't. I would rather listen to ululation. And the thing, look, the hell of it is, I'm hardly a foreign policy dove. I was all in on Afghanistan. At least the hippies can tell you, oh, I support the troops all right. I support bringing the troops home safe and sound. Me? Look, I'm not the guy you want commiserating with your wounded warriors. It's too awkward. It ain't right the way our so-called leaders treated you. Taking advantage of your patriotism, lying you into a poorly planned war of choice. You should have been getting shot at by totally different dudes. If I could turn back time, you'd have been rooting through scrap to up-armor your Humvees thousands of miles away. Some true supporter I am. Oh, what's that? Your child was born while you were deployed and you're afraid you're going to miss out on all the major milestones? Dude, relax. I'm pretty sure the guy your wife's cheating with has a camera on his phone. They do come standard. Wave hi to other daddy. That's dry dick daddy. He's a soldier. Oh, come to think of it, maybe James and I aren't so different. I just gave to Planned Parenthood. We're both baby killers. I don't know. Oh, another parallel I just thought of. Now, I've got a few years on James. I'm in my late 40s. And, I never had much of a mind for details, so it's funny how granular I've gotten about my 40s. I was in my early 40s, then I was in my mid 40s, which lasted right through 48, because based in mathematics is essentially arbitrary, man. But, now a couple of months ago, I turned 40-10. Yeah. The big 4-0 plus sign 1-0. And I'll tell you, you get to my age, the plumbing, not up to code. No. And now that my prostate's fighting it out for real estate with my bladder, men of a certain age, you'll know where I'm coming from here. I can be up 2-3 times a night sometimes. And at all times, I have to be very mindful about zipping up afterwards. Trying to avoid the, what's the monocultural reference now? Marvel movies? Yeah. I'm trying to avoid that post-credits cameo. You know what I'm saying? Take heed, young fellers. There comes a time. Shaking it sometimes just ain't enough to spare your undergarments. Sometimes you gotta grab a wad of TP and blot. And then it's like, oh great, now I gotta wash my hands every time I take a whiz. Where does it end? All right, that got a little off track, but my point is, James has PTSD. I feel like I've got an STD. So, brothers in arms. And I'll tell you, I've never said this to a vet. Not that I disagree with the sentiment, but it just sounds just so condescending. But I'm going to say it. James, thank you for your service. Come on, give it up, you pinkos. Thank you for your service. Seriously, I so appreciate you and all our men and women in uniform fighting for my freedoms. The only thing I would appreciate more is if you and all our men and women in uniform never find out what I did with my freedoms. Oh my God. Oh, if you knew how badly I squandered the freedoms y'all risked and sometimes gave your lives for, you would, and all the men and women in uniform, you would beat my ass. I swear to God. You'd be like, no, No, freedom like speech and assembly, not unlimited spank bank downloads. What the hell? And yeah, no, of course you should be free to eat that for dinner, but what, is that a Skittles burrito? What the hell's wrong with you? Man, if I had known, I would have rabbited with Bird Doll. Sorry if you don't get that reference, I'm sure James will. Now, I think probably the largest gulf between myself and James, I would say it's this. I am a vegetarian and a all-around animal lover, whereas James is a hunter. Big on hunting, right? Not my thing. Now, I will say, though, now I am vehemently opposed to killing animals for food. Unlike most people who share my opinion on this, I don't eat them. So, James, if you're taking flack from some of these omnivorous hypocrites, I got you 6, buddy. Because I'm going to tell you something. Listen, if you're an animal, I doubt they're listening, but just in case. Any animals out there, if you have to die to fill some human's belly, listen, a guy like James is your best friend. Because there are worse ways to go. 1 minute you're frolicking in a meadow and then bam. Whole lot better than being slowly tortured to death at a factory farm. Am I right? Right. Yeah, good. I'm glad you think that, because this is where I'm going to lose you. See, I try to stay on the reasonable end of the animal welfare advocacy spectrum, but this is the one issue that I'm just indistinguishable from the most self-righteous PETA kook. I'm that guy, comparing the modern food chain to the Holocaust. You know, saying shit like, well, I mean, aside from the species of the victim, like that's a minor caveat. You know, giving you the stink eye outside Johnny Rockets. Yum. Fresh from the concentration camp, huh? Bet you can really taste the privation. Oh, sure, walk away. Americans can't face facts about their food. Where do you think your Bergen-Belsen burger came from, man? Our band knocks fries with that? Okay, James, you might think you're hearing people boo. You're actually hearing cows cheer.